Welcome back to, of course, the How to Do It video series. And we're going to have a little bit of a focus this fourth season. We're going to try and have a little bit of a focus on a few human health tips. And so we're going to do something that actually combines some agriculture, some gardening, and quite a lot of human health. In something I wrote several years ago, a blog that I wrote that was very popular at the time, and I was looking through and I thought, gee, this would be really good to share via the How to Do It video series. And so we're talking about 10 2-minute tips for the time challenge. I thought that was quite a catchy little name, but 10 2-minute tips for the time challenge. And we're talking about 10 times 2 is 20. We're talking about the 20-minute game changer. So we're going to talk about some really simple things you can do that can make, in some cases, a vast difference. And we're going to talk about 10 of them. And one of those is this concept of recognizing the importance of your life within and the simple things you can do to change and nurture that all-important 100 trillion organisms. Remember, we've thought of ourselves as this sack of cells, this 10 trillion cells communicating constantly with each other. And then we discovered the microbiome and realized, oh my goodness, there's a tube that runs between our mouth and our anus that contains 100 trillion. There's 10 times more of them than there is of us. And of course, it's not a them and us scenario. We are a synergistic organism, and these organisms govern every aspect of our health. And so looking after them and contributing and increasing their diversity and their numbers, and this is what probiotics is about, can be of tremendous value. So basically, the probiotics, I mean, there's so many things they do, and I won't go through the huge list, but basically the concept of fermented food is integral to all of the longest living cultures. So we can be talking the Koreans in Asia, we can be talking the Huns, the Georgians, and so forth. All of them ate lacto-fermented food on a daily basis, and one of the many benefits of that food is the fact that nutritionists tell us that everything, when the microbes have gone through it and processed it, everything is 5 times more available. So that's the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients and so forth. All of those wonderful things that make food medicine are 5 times more available when the microbes have been at work. There's also that whole concept of this recognition that we're born with a certain capacity to produce a certain number of enzymes, and we can reduce the drawdown of our own enzyme bank account if we can include some enzymes, which of course the fermented food, the organisms create enzymes to break down that food, and it's like an enzyme supplement when we include that food in our diet. So the enzyme story is a big story. And then just the bringing in, recognizing you've got all these organisms, but we're knocking them around just like we're knocking them around in the soil, and the kind of things, environmental contaminants, food stabilizers are huge. As I've said, most of the stuff in that football field-sized stadium called a supermarket is there because it's got a food-grade stabilizer that keeps it on the shelf for 2 years. But why would you think for a moment that stabilizer, that 2.5% of sodium benzoate, for example, that it stops working as your child shovels back the cornflakes? Of course it doesn't. And the amount of processed food is a direct measure of the health of yourself and your family, the amount of processed food that you consume. So basically we want to top up these guys, and that's what the story of longevity is about. We've got the contaminants, the antibiotics, which are horrific, killing good and bad. Specialists and probiotics telling us it takes us 6 months of taking a probiotic just to get back to where we started from after a 1-week course of antibiotics, and who of us ever did that? So digestion is the starting point of wellness, and there's so many issues with digestive illness. In fact, it's the 3rd largest class of illness in the Western world, is this whole story of digestive problems. So that daily introduction of an army of gut-boosting organisms can be of absolutely immense value, and it only need take a couple of minutes a day, and it needn't be expensive. We're going to teach you how you can expand those organisms. So we're going to talk about one of my creations called BioBubble. Got a little photo of me on the back of it. But BioBubble is this massive range of organisms, and huge. It's over 470 different strains in this thing, and 50 billion per serve. So it's I think it's one of the most advanced probiotics on the market. And certainly people, I was just speaking up in Kingaroy this last week, and a couple there said, this is life-changing. It's changed our life completely. We both had gut issues. We've never found a better supplement than this, and that's a common comment. So, but we're going to teach you how you can multiply. You know, who does that when they sell a product? Well, I do constantly, as you know. I'll teach you how you can magnify it and make it cheaper, how you can multiply it yourself, and it's very, very simple. Let's just talk about how to do it. We're going to take a juice. In this case, of course, pomegranate juice, if you know anything about it in terms of its many, many antioxidant qualities, including that lovely red, dark red colour. What we're going to do is we're going to take some biobubble, and let's just show you how easy it is. It's insanely easy. It usually bubbles a bit, so we'll just make sure it doesn't spew everywhere. That's not too bad. There's a bit of bubbles there. So we're going to pour 20%, which is about that. So that's not a huge investment from your perspective. And then we're going to top that up with the juice. And that's all we're going to do. And we're going to leave that at room temperature. So say you don't really want it to drop below 20, so put it in a warm place, put it in the sun or put it in the house that's warmed. And really it's only a 24-hour process, and it will become slightly fizzy, and the organisms will multiply amongst all the goodies in the pomegranate juice, including the sugar. And you've just multiplied many times over your 20%. Well, you've got pretty much the same numbers of that mother culture, and you can do that several times, maybe 4 or 5 times. You do start denigrating the mother culture if you keep on doing it, because there's contaminants coming in from the atmosphere. There's all sorts of other things, and so maybe 4 or 5 times you've just taken 20% and made a full glass. And at the end of that period, it's no, I'll just taste what it tastes like before it ferments. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful when that ferments. Such a rich flavour in pomegranate juice. So when that's completed, you've just made your own biobubble supplement, and 5 times more than what you started with. And it's so simple. And you'll know that you're there because it will actually get fizzy. You know, biobubbles called biobubble because the bubbles is the anaerobic organisms breathing out, you know, with CO2, and that creates the bubbling effect. So you'll see this bubbling effect for sure. Usually after a day, maybe if it's really cold, it might be slightly long, but a day is plenty normally. So wonderful kind of concept. Now, there's another really good concept relative to this gut health story, and that involves the relatively newer understanding of something called Synbiotics. And here we're talking about the combination of a prebiotic and a probiotic. Now, I've covered this previously when I was talking about the wonderful Peruvian earth apple called the Yacon, which of course is the most powerful probiotic. But what we've done with the Yacon, I think I did touch upon it, is that we've made it into a health juice called Sublime Health. And that combines really high levels of ginger, of turmeric, 40% of Yacon juice, and a blend of 4 organic apple juices, and some lemons. So there's 5 components. People have sort of gone crazy on this. It's become, we're out of it at the moment, but we'll have it again. We're juicing again. The Yacons are just ready to harvest. We'll be juicing within 3 weeks and we'll have it back again. But again, it's one of those things that people say, particularly when they combine. So what we suggest is that you take 100 mils of, normally we say you take the pair of them together for this Synbiotic, this combination of a probiotic and a prebiotic, and you take 100 mils of biobubble with 50 mils of that. And so this is a 10-day course with this, and 10-day course because you've got a litre and you're using 100 mils each day, and we can sell a little bottle of biobubble with the kit, and it's a 10-day probiotic or Synbiotic course that really, really is impressive. People drive kilometres to the farmers markets at Stanthorpe. I mean, I'm talking from 3 or 4 hours away just to get it because it's not available in Brisbane at the moment. So that's the combination of Sublime Health. And now you can do that, of course, with your new do-it-yourself probiotic and combine some Sublime Health for the Yacon component. Yacon, of course, the most powerful known prebiotic. And of course, it has all the other benefits of more resveratrol in a glass, quite a lot more than a glass of red wine, for example. So tremendous health drink. And of course, it's got that secondary effect. Aside from this wonderful gut feeding and gut nurturing impact, it has a secondary effect that if you concentrate it up into a substance called Yacon syrup, it takes 3 kilos of Yacons to make just a small amount of this wonderful flavoured, sort of a bit like maple syrup. and I have it in my coffee. It's got zero effect on blood sugar. It's the perfect alternative sweetener. It's got a GI of 1. Sugar's got a GI of 70. This is a GI of 1, so no impact on blood sugar at all. So it's used as an alternative sweetener, and it has that prebiotic effect. But if you take it an hour before a meal, 1 teaspoon, 1 hour before a meal, it shuts down the hunger hormone called ghrelin, and you eat half the amount you otherwise would have eaten. You just don't feel hungry. That's why they call it the diet potato in Peru. This is the concentrated effect of that with 3 kilos in 1 jar, and a teaspoon is sufficient. Some do a teaspoon and a half for that's diet aid effect. So basically, that's the model. You're going to make your own biobubble, expand it out if you choose, combine it with the most powerful known probiotic, 40% Yacon juice. It's the world's first Yacon juice that I'm familiar with. We found a way to keep it from discoloring in the jar, and there's a whole trick to that because usually it oxidizes the moment you juice it, but we found that it doesn't involve chemicals. So anyway, that's the Yacon juice and the combination, and it's the do-it-yourself form of biobubble. So this is, a simple way that you can look after this all-important life within. You're boosting the numbers. You're bringing in the enzymes that are still present in that liquid to save the drawdown of your own limited enzyme bank account. It's a really, really good strategy. Understanding that every aspect of your health, including your immunity, 85% of your immune system's down there learning from the good guys, and you boost those good guys, you boost immunity, and there are multiple papers to confirm that. So best of luck and happy gut. We're talking about our top 10 2-minute tips for the time-starved, as I mentioned. And number 6 involves compensating for your alcohol intake. And you might be thinking, well, just stop drinking, mate. But alcohol avoidance is pretty much a no-go zone when you're talking to a nation of drinkers. You don't say, well, you don't do this with alcohol. You can talk about other things, but alcohol is kind of like you're not supposed to talk about it. But that's changing. There's quite a lot of few people who have given up alcohol. Many of us drink too much, but it's just not discussed because it's become sort of sacred ground. But the simple fact, and we've got to face the facts, the simple fact that, alcohol turns into ethanol, and ethanol is a super destructive drug. Well, alcohol is a drug, and ethanol that it turns into is one of the most toxic substances in the human body, linked to multiple health issues, and more recently, an Australian study confirmed that it's this far behind nicotine as a primary root cause of cancer. So it's not a good thing to drink too much, is very obviously the case. So what we do in nutrition farming, and what we do even in the health scenarios, is say, is there any way, if we are having some drinks, that we can counter the damage? Basically, it's like saying, can you have your cake and eat it too? Yeah, you can, sort of. And we'll talk about, we try to do it with all the things. If you have to use glyphosate, what can you do? Well, you can put fulvic acid, and you can drop the pH down to 2.9, and you can add a penetrant like cloak spray oil, and you can use half the amount. And so at least you're using half the amount of a bullshit, horrible farm chemical. So it's a pragmatic approach is what I'm trying to say here. And so let's talk about, a few things we might do. Say that we know we're going to go out and have a few drinks. It's a party or whatever. Well, can we counter that likely hangover? Well, don't wait till after you've got the hangover. The strategy here is, many people take B vitamins for good reason, because ethanol drains some of your B vitamins. Take your B vitamins before you go out for the night. So you just have a high analysis B group supplement that you're going to take directly before you go out to drink. And then this concept of, it means you've got to wee a lot, but every glass of booze, you take a glass of water, which dilutes some of the impact and some of the negatives associated with it. And then there's the fact that your liver is the thing that's going to be most harmed by ethanol, and fat is the thing that protects your liver. So eat something before you go out for drinking, or while you're drinking, have a pizza or something fatty, basically something rich in fat that can protect your liver. And so it's a pragmatic way to minimize damage. You're going to do it anyway, so why not minimize the damage if you do it? You might also reconsider your choice of poison. Now, unfortunately, beer, as nice as some of these new little beers that are made around the country are delicious, the problem with beer is that it has the highest glycemic or glycemic index of any input, and that's what the beer belly's about. And of course, when we spike blood sugar, we spike insulin, and insulin speeds cell division and shortens our life, so there's not many 100-year-old beer drinkers, unfortunately. So are there better choices? Yeah, there are. And I'm going to use the opportunity to talk about Nutrition Farm's Love Cloud cider, the only Queensland cider ever to win awards. We've won 2 medals with it. Now, there's a semi-sweet and there's a semi-dry. This is the semi-dry. 6.5% alcohol. It's got a bit of a kick, but it's really delicious. And so cider, because of the massive volume of antioxidants found in apples, which really, they're second to berries, but you actually, when you drink there's a lot of apples in a glass of this, so there's a hell of an antioxidant hit that comes with cider, and to some degree it can help neutralise the negatives associated with the alcohol component. So cider is a great, and it doesn't have a high glycemic index, so it's a really good option. Now, if we're talking wine, red wine, of course, is a better choice, and we're talking about that protective substance called resveratrol. But if you were serious, you'd just drink grape juice because you wouldn't have the negative effect of ethanol. But red wine's certainly better than white. Now, the other issue, and of course we're talking about calorie counts and associated spikes in insulin, and insulin being linked to shortening your life. Basically, if you take the normal sort of baby boomers now, many of them are drinking their couple of glasses of wine as part of their deserved retirement, and they get into that habit. And I know so many people that do that. And basically that 2 glasses of wine is very often more calories than the meal they just ate. Get a calorie counter and see what you're actually doing. So from a weight management perspective, that can be an issue and quite a serious issue. But if you're seeking, there's the other argument about how many ways that stress kills, and there's no shortage of ways that stress impacts, and there is no doubt that alcohol gives you that relaxation feel that many people are seeking. So is there a better way to get that alcohol buzz quickly? Well, there is. It's the cleanest source of alcohol, which is vodka, and we'll just demonstrate it, and we might even have a taste of it also. But basically, you take a lime, and this is a lime from Nutrition Farms, beautiful juicy lime, and we'll make one for myself and Adam. We'll squeeze some lime juice into the glass. I'll just clear that so you can see. So we're going to put some lime juice in here. Beautiful stuff. We'll have a half each. And then you could use a lemon squeeze, would be better, but this will do. This will give us a significant amount of lime juice. That's lovely. And then we're going to use, I've just got some sparkling, wait a minute, just get some. That's the ingredient I forgot, was the sparkling mineral water. So we've got our lime juice, and we're going to take we could use gin, of course, getting increasingly popular, and of course there's some herbal gins that can be very nice, and it's second only to vodka in terms of a clean, hard alcohol that delivers you that buzz without too many other side effects, including the calorie component that we talked about. So this is the lowest calorie drink you can have, and we're going to put some vodka in there. Nice little touch of vodka. Adam's laughing here. You're going to be drinking this, boy. And we're going to put in our sweetener, and of course we're going to use, so we're taking and we're giving. We're going to put some Yacon syrup, a teaspoon into each one. This beautiful maple syrup flavour. Changes the colour of the perfect colour, but it's we're going to be doing some good to ourselves while we're doing some bad for ourselves. And then we're going to take our sparkling mineral water, and we're going to top that up. And what we've got, remember there's no calories, GI of 1 in Yacon syrup. We're going to have this lovely, might be too much, the 1 teaspoon, but I'll taste it in a minute and see. This lovely, okay, let's see what it tastes like. Very nice indeed. You want to try some? Here's yours for all the work behind the camera.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers. So it might get a bit, we might get a little bit outlandish from here and then now as we progress and clean. Now there is another option. If you don't want Yacon syrup, you can use the only other, well, one of the few other natural sweeteners, and of course it's from NTS as well. It's called Sweet Sure. It's based on xylitol, this sugar discovered in birch bark, and has a GI of 7 versus 70 for sugar, so very, very low impact on blood sugar levels and subsequent insulin levels, which we don't want to spike blood insulin. Remember the link to longevity when those studies of centenarians were carried out all over the country. There was no one who made 100 they all had low fasting blood insulin levels. So it's a huge story to try and not spike insulin. And that's one way to do it, as is Yacon syrup.